Welcome back to the Man United stream. We have got so much to discuss today. In today's show, we're going to be talking about all the rumours that are coming out of Manchester United, that there's been a huge dressing room bust up between the players after the Brighton game, after that loss, that 1-3 loss at home at Old Trafford. All the players, including Bruno Fernandes, the captain, had a huge kick-off in the dressing room, and now it's been leaked by a few players that this is going on. And there's also stories around Ten Hag losing control of the entire dressing room. And we're also going to be discussing information that came out yesterday about the whole takeover and the Glazer sale of Manchester United, and we'll discuss that and more in today's show. So before we kick off the show, please make sure you hit that like button on the video. If you're new to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe so you can keep up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and opinions. Our channel has been growing rapidly in the last couple of months, and it's been amazing to watch, and our family of football fans and Manchester United fans is growing and growing every day. So if you like football, if you like Manchester United, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Okay, so let's kick off today's show with the news that's coming out of Manchester United, and has been reported by several news sources that there was a huge kickoff after the game against Brighton. That loss of 1-3 against them at Old Trafford caused a huge kickoff between the players after the game in the dressing room. Now clearly this news has been leaked by someone within the dressing room, within the team, that keeps on leaking this information to the press. It must be the same leak that's been leaking the information for several years now, and it seems that they're not going to stop. They are clearly leaking this news, and it shouldn't be a surprise to any fan to hear that there was a kickoff between the players after that game against Brighton. Brighton schooled Manchester United at Old Trafford. They came and Manchester United couldn't even land a single punch on Brighton. Brighton controlled everything. They won the game easily. They could have actually had even more goals than 3, and that was the disappointment. And the United players did not even look up for the game. They just played a really slow, sluggish game, and every fan saw it. If anyone was at Old Trafford, you could see off the ball the players were not moving as they should be doing. The players were not closing down fast enough. They were not running enough, and it just felt like they were just not confident. After the first 20 minutes, they just completely lost all confidence, and Brighton just kept possession and destroyed Manchester United. So it wasn't a surprise that they went into the dressing room and they had a kickoff. And in some regards, that's good news. At least you know that the players actually care, or some of the players actually care. Now, within the leaks, we're hearing that Bruno Fernandes was the key person. Obviously, he's the captain, and he's the one who's actually kicked off with several players, at least 3 players in the Manchester United dressing room. Now, the club have come out and denied that there was ever a dressing room bust up between the players after that game against Brighton. All they've said is that the Ten Hag is in control of the dressing room and everything is fine. However, everyone is after the head of Ten Hag. Everyone is trying to say that Ten Hag has no control of the players, has lost the dressing room, and it's all back to square one again. What we've seen in the previous years and previous managers that have come to Manchester United have all lost the dressing room, and sooner or later they get kicked out and sacked from the club. And this is what some of the media, some of the press want to happen with Ten Hag. Now, finding out about this bust up within the Manchester United dressing room between the players is not a bad thing. In fact, I think it's a good thing. I think it shows that the players have got passion and have got drive to go out there and improve themselves. And those players who are sat there just simply collecting their paycheck end of the month are not deserving of being there. And if those players want to sit there and course through the season, well, that's not good enough. And we do need the captain like Bruno Fernandes to come out there and get these players to start playing better. And players kicking off and having bust-ups in the dressing room isn't new. Everyone does it. We know behind the scenes all the players in the dressing room always have issues when they're losing, and this is no exception. So why has this turned into a huge news story? I have no idea, but I guess it is Manchester United, and everything turns into a huge news story if it happens at Manchester United. The other reason why we're thinking that this is turned into a huge news story is because the press is out to get Ten Hag. They want him sacked, and there are a select few people within the fan base who've even asked for Ten Hag to be sacked. Now, in our opinion, getting rid of the manager will make zero difference to what's going on at the club and what's going on with the players. We've seen this happen time and time again. Players who kick off within the dressing room, the manager ends up getting sacked, and we go back to square one again. But there's bigger fish to fry. The Glazers are still in charge. We need to move on and get this club taken over and sold to a new owner so everything can change from top to bottom. We need the players to understand that the manager has got overall authority over them. You need a clear hierarchy within the club, and the manager has to sit somewhere at the top of that. And the players must understand that, and understand that they can't go against the manager and expect to be picked again. Please drop your comments below on what you think about all this bust up in the dressing room. Do you think it's a huge issue for Ten Hag and the club, or do you think it's just normal for players to kick off after a hard loss against Brighton like they did have? So please drop your comments below, let us know what you think, and make sure you hit that like button whilst you're watching the video. We'll bring you further news on this whole bust up, on what's going on behind the scenes as and when we get it. This is hot news off the press. We're not hearing any further details on this, but as soon as we get them, we will bring them to you as soon as possible. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can keep up to date with all that latest news. And now moving on to a bit more positive news coming out of Manchester United, which is on the takeover. Yes, we're getting some positive news on the takeover. Finally, we're getting some news on the takeover that we actually want to hear. Now, this news comes from two really well respected journalists within the sports and business industry, and it is Ben Jacob and David Haller, who works for Bloomberg news agency. Now, these two journalists appeared on a podcast called The Daily Debrief, and it also had Fabrizio Romano in as a guest on this show, and they discussed the whole takeover at Manchester United. Now, David Haller is very interesting because he is someone really well respected within the world of business and in the world of football. He has many connections and sources within both the worlds, and he commented on the takeover by Sheikh Jassim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe of Manchester United and the sale by the Glazers, and would it happen. Now, he made some really interesting comments yesterday in the podcast saying that he believes that the takeover will happen, and it will be happening in the next couple of months, and in his opinion the buyer will be Sheikh Jassim. Now, this was very good news for most Manchester United fans who are in favour of the club being sold, and being sold to someone like Sheikh Jassim, who has said that when he does take over, he will clear the debt outstanding at Manchester United, which is huge news to most Manchester United fans, because we want that debt clearing, which allows Manchester United to then go on equal levels with all the rest of the clubs and go out there and have the ability to go and sign players that they really want to sign. So this David Haller of Bloomberg confirmed in the podcast yesterday that he had spoke to several sources that were close to the Rain Group and the Sheikh Jassim Group, and confirmed that both were looking to actually get this deal done and over the line within the next couple of weeks, if not by the next month, by October, we've been told. Now, this is fantastic news if this is genuine news coming out of both parties. They both want to get it done. He believes that the Qataris will come and get this deal done, even if it's at the last minute. It's a really interesting podcast to listen to, and in this podcast David Haller confirms that the Qataris have a style of doing this. They're always in on these deals and they wait to the last minute and then make the final bid and get the deal done. That is the way they work, and they don't want to overpay for anything, and that includes Manchester United. Even though Sheikh Jassim is a big fan of Manchester United, he still has his business acumen and he does not want to overpay the Glazers for what the value is of Manchester United currently. Now, Ben Jacob, another journalist who was also on this podcast yesterday, confirmed that he also has spoken to sources who have said that the sale is either going to happen and it's going to go to Sheikh Jassim, or the sale's not going to happen and the Glazers are going to remain in ownership of the club for a number of years. He believes that Sir Jim Ratcliffe will not be the final person who's going to take over at Manchester United. He believes that Sheikh Jassim has got the funds available to buy the club, but he's not reaching the valuation that the Glazers want to sell Manchester United at, and the valuation is around about $7 to $8 billion. And Ben Jacob made it clear that if that figure is reached by Sheikh Jassim, the sale will get done, and it will get done very fast. So these are two very respected sports journalists who've both confirmed that Sheikh Jassim is in the driving seat, and it's only a matter of time before this deal gets done. Now, this is great news for a lot of Manchester United fans who've been waiting on and hearing lots of different rumours about what's going on, but we are now edging closer to the sale to get done. And we also believe, from the sources that we've been hearing from and the sources that we've been speaking from, that the deal will happen. The Glazers will have to sell and leave Manchester United. They know the writing is on the wall, they know the fans will not let them stay, and they know that it's not going to get any better. So Manchester United will get sold and the Glazers will end up selling Manchester United, and it looks like Sheikh Jassim is in the driving seat and will come to the table. Even if it means paying a bit more, he will come to the table and get the deal done. So let's go. That's great news for Manchester United fans, and hopefully this gets done before everything goes completely kaput at Manchester United. We can see that everything is self-imploding at Manchester United. We can see the pressure that's on Ten Hag. We can see the players are under extreme pressure to perform. But if nothing changes behind the scenes, the players will not change, the manager will not change, and the ethos at the club will not change. We need everything to change from the core, from the inner circle. We need everything to change, and that starts from the owners. And once the owners change, I believe, and a lot of other people believe, that this will then start a catalogue of changes within the club, and it'll be like a domino effect where everything will fall into place and Manchester United will be able to regain their throne on top of the football world. So as you can tell, I'm really excited with this news of the takeover, and it completely overshadows the news about the whole bust up in the dressing room. I would not pay too much attention to all this rubbish that's coming out in the press against Manchester United and against Ten Hag and the players having a bust up. It's absolutely normal for players to react like that after a huge loss at home at Old Trafford, where they had a brilliant record and they had not lost for a long time. And you'd expect Bruno, the captain, to come out and have them arguments with his players and get them to perform and get them to pull their fingers out, and that could wake up the Manchester United players before they actually face off against Bayern in this huge Champions League clash. Make sure you hit that like button on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. You are watching the Man United Stream, a channel by the fans for the fans.